Today, we're talking about the one lens that every photographer needs and why this one is the best. Hey everyone, I'm Chase Butcher and welcome to another video, the first video of 2021 and what will hopefully be the first of many videos that will come this year, all surrounding photography and tutorials and also some vlogs and things of that sort. Today we're talking about the single most important piece of gear that you can own, and that's your lens. The lens is the most important part of the camera system because it actually focuses everything for the sensor to pick up that's in your camera. Without it, the camera's basically walking around blind. Because of that, it's always a really good idea to make a solid investment in your camera lens. Now, it's also important to find the camera system that you're going to be utilizing throughout your photographic journey, and that's because your lens is generally going to outlast the body of your camera. As you upgrade your body, as new technology comes out, things of that sort, your lens will be able to transition along with you through that whole journey. Now, when you got your new camera system, you probably came with a lens similar to this one. It's cheap, it's made out of plastic, kind of makes weird noise when you turn it, doesn't focus super well, but it is what comes with your camera. Now, this one here in particular is a variable focal length. It goes from 18 to 55 millimeters on a zoom function. But the only problem with that is that it also has a variable aperture. Now, the aperture is the iris inside your lens that makes it so you can get that nice, creamy, blurred out background. Now, the aperture on this lens goes from 3.5 when it's at 18 millimeters, but as you zoom in to 55 millimeters, it actually increases to f5.6. Now, what that means to you guys is that as you zoom in to 55 millimeters, it's actually gonna be harder for you to get that creamy, blurred out background because of how tight that aperture is. Now, everything will be in focus, but everything will be in focus all the way through your frame. And it kind of takes away a lot of the stylistic approach and kind of artistic, creative ability you may have when you're out there with your camera. So what should you do if the lens that came with your camera isn't working out for you and is kind of holding you back? Well, my suggestion would be to upgrade to what I feel is the most ideal lens for any photographic situation, and that is the 24-70 f2.8 lens. Now, there are several different manufacturers that make this lens, whether you buy a Canon lens, a Nikon lens, a Sony lens, or any of the other third-party brands, they're all going to have the same focal length and the same aperture. And what you're looking for is that constant aperture of f2.8. Our manufacturer of choice here, though, is the Sigma lineup of lenses. We chose them because they're extremely well built. All of their bodies are made out of aluminum, so they actually have metal, which makes it feel really nice in your hands, but also makes it a lot more durable. The image quality is incredible out of these lenses, and it rivals that, if not supersedes those of Canon or Nikon. And on top of that, they are very, very affordable. You can pick up one of these lenses from Sigma for almost half what it would cost you to pick up the equal lens through Canon or Nikon. Now, the lens that I would recommend to you would be to purchase the Sigma 24-70 DG OS HSM Art series lens. Now you'd be asking yourself, what the heck do all those letters mean? Well, the DG on this lens means that it is a digital series lens, and so it works on all your DSLRs and mirrorless cameras. The OS is optical stabilization, we'll touch on that here in a minute, and the HSM is the hypersonic motor, which is actually what drives the focusing system. Art series talks about the quality and the precision that goes into making each and every one of these lenses, and the quality that you can expect in the images that result from it. Now, the reason that I feel that the 24-70 f2.8 lens is the ideal lens for any photographer looking at expanding their kit to begin with is because it covers the focal lengths of 24 all the way up to 70. So it'll be a super wide angle lens, but it can also turn into a telephoto lens all the way at 70 millimeters. So this makes it good for everything from landscape photography to architecture photography and real estate photography to shooting products and videos, as well as also doing portrait work and wedding work like I do. And because it is a zoom lens, what it actually also affords you is the ability to have lens compression. Now, lens compression is a super complex topic, and I'll cover it in a video later on in this year. But basically what it is saying is that as you zoom in that lens, it makes it seem as though the background that's behind your subject moves in to be closer to the foreground. And what can actually end up doing is creating a more blurred out background for your subject at a higher f-stop or your f2.8 or your aperture setting. Now, the other nice thing about the f2.8 lens is that it makes it easy to focus. There are lots of lenses out there that like a 50mm 1.2 aperture that has a super wide open aperture, but what can happen with that is if you don't get your focus point set properly, you can end up focusing on your subject's nose and lose focus immediately directly behind it, so everything else is out of focus. At f2.8, it offers you a little more area to play with, and it makes it so that your subject is going to end up in focus more often than not. Now, the reason I would recommend the Art series of lenses is, like I said, is the quality and the precision that goes into making these lenses. Now, we're not sponsored by Sigma, and so this is just my honest opinion, having used this lens for over a year now out in the field taking portraits and at weddings. I love this lens. It is a workhorse. It covers everything that I can possibly need, and I know that it's reliable. It has extremely sharp images, and it always focuses right when I need it to, right where I need it to. And because of that, like, that's why I am recommending this to be the absolute best lens for an entry-level photographer looking to upgrade their lens system. On top of that, Sigma also affords its customers the opportunity to calibrate their lenses. So they have a USB dock that your lens can actually sit on and attach to your computer. And what that allows Sigma to do is push out new firmware updates, to push out new calibrations for focusing systems, and to make it so that your lens is always optimized and ready to go every time you go out to your next shoot. So what we like to do on my side of things is I always like to check to make sure that every lens is updated before I go to my shoot. It only takes me about 2 minutes, and it makes it so that it's super on point and always ready when I need it to be. Now, if you're a photographer looking to branch into video, this lens is also a workhorse when it comes to video production. If you're looking to create online content like vlogs and things of that sort, this 24mm focal length is perfect. It's an absolute perfect vlogging lens. It makes it so that you can take in all of your scene while you are centered of frame. It makes it so that there's less distortion on your face and things of that sort when you're out there walking around and run and gun shooting. The optical stabilization in this lens, or the OS of the lens name, makes it so that as you're walking around, the image will be stabilized in the lens, which helps to reduce shake or vibrations caused when you're walking around out there vlogging. Now, if you pair this lens with a camera that has in-body image stabilization, it will actually reduce that shake even more and make for the most stable image that you can possibly have while handheld shooting. The other great benefit to this Sigma Art series lenses is the HSM, or the hypersonic motor. Now, that is the actual motor that drives the focusing system. On this lens, the HSM motor is actually all internal, so the whole focusing system is built into this lens. So as you hold down your shutter and you gain your focal point, nothing on the exterior of this lens is moving. It's all interior, but it's also extremely quiet. So the focal system on this isn't going to interrupt your video production. It's not going to be picked up on the on-camera microphone, and it's also not going to just disrupt people while you're out shooting, say, a wedding, and you want to be as quiet as you possibly can. It's just those little things that make this lens stand out above the crowd. Now, the best thing about this lens is actually something very small. Now, on this lens, there's this little rubber gasket that runs all the way around the outside of it, and when you take this lens and you pair it with a weather-sealed body, it actually creates a completely weather-sealed system for your camera. Now, what that means is that your camera is going to be water and dust resistant. Now, it's not waterproof. You can't go and shoot underwater or anything of that sort. But if you're out and about and you run into rain or you run into dust and sand, it's going to be protected. And that is extremely important, especially when you're investing in something like a lens or a new camera system. Nobody wants there to be moisture inside that's going to damage all the electronics. And with a Art series lens from Sigma that is weather sealed, you are getting rid of that possibility. Now, this also is super important for when you're out shooting street photography. Now, if you're out there shooting random subjects, it's always nice to introduce the element of weather because it adds a new character and a new dimension to your photograph. So if you can get out there when it's raining or when it's snowing or foggy or whatever the weather may be, it's going to make your images more interesting, and you will be able to do that without fear of ruining your camera with a weather sealed system like the Sigma line paired with a weather sealed body. Now let's get to the most important factor, the price, because everybody is always worried about what the price is of these lenses. Now, they are expensive, but what you need to see this as is an investment into your future. Because as I said earlier, this lens is going to follow you through all the way through your photographic journey. It's going to follow you through the next camera body and the camera body after that. I've heard stories of people who have bought lenses in the 60s and 70s that are still working today. That's 40, 50, 60 years old, and that's insane because of the quality that goes into building lenses. Now, as I said before, these lenses are much more affordable than their name brand counterparts. They are about half the price of what you may get from a Canon lens, and I'll link that in the description below so you can see the comparisons. This lens itself, though, right now is priced at $1,059 on Amazon or any of the other outlet markets that you can find. And it is an investment, though. So it may be more expensive than the current camera body that you have, but as I said before, it is going to follow you through your journey. This lens is also not going to lose its value as fast as as your camera body may. When you make an investment in a lens, if you want to go and sell that lens down the road, you're going to almost get as much money back from it as you put into it. They do hold their value incredibly well, but it is also super important to be investing in your future as a photographer. Well, that's it for today's video, guys. I hope that it inspired you to make an investment in yourself, to make an investment in a quality lens that's gonna help push your creativity, help give you the opportunity to create beautiful images, and be able to progress your photographic career. Now, if you got any value out of this content, please click the like button below. It does give me a little boost, and it helps with the algorithm and gets my video out to other people just like you who are looking for this information. While you're down there, also click the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you can be notified of future videos just like this one. I do plan to produce a video every other week through 2021. For now though, guys, that's all I have today, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.